Hello, my name is Russ Mim from the National City Research and Modeling team, here to present our studies on-the-go credit program and predicting prospective customers. As an overview, on-the-go credit is a new line of credit that goes against the homeowner's used vehicle. The target is to increase the offer acceptance, so getting more customers to sign up for this new credit line. And how we're going to do this is we can analyze the past internal and third-party customer data to generate some models, create a predictive model where we can put in these variables for new prospects, and it will give us a probability of whether or not a new customer will accept the offer. And by doing this, we hope to achieve getting our next 100 customers and then some. So in past customer insights, we used internal customer data, which consisted of about 4,000 different customers with unique IDs. It documented whether they accepted or did not accept the offer for on-the-go credit. It also had call time, number of previous attempts, communication efforts, things like that. Additionally, we joined this internal data with third-party data that we purchased for car info, their credit history, some default history, as well as age, sex, and education. But overall, the 4,000 past customers only had about a 40% acceptance rate, which isn't acceptable. We need to improve this and drive up our success. When we look at the past customers' loan data, car loan data specifically, whether or not they do have a car loan or not, 86% do not have an auto loan, meaning, at least in our view, that this is kind of an open window. If they don't currently have, an auto loan, they could probably use something like this, or be more willing to accept something like this if we have the right mindset when targeting our potential customers. In terms of communication in the past, you can see here 76% of customers had never been contacted prior to a first call, which makes sense. That's not a surprise. But the startling thing here is that only 8% were ever recontacted. There's only ever one reach out attempt after that, and you can see it drops very steeply from the first attempt on down. So we need to improve this. We need to get our recontact efforts much higher. In terms of call time, so this is a small subset of data, and what we did is we studied only the call time influence on offer acceptance, meaning we did a logistic regression with only call time as the variable. So when we generate this model of just what length of call time, what does that mean to accept or not accept? And where you can see the two red lines crossing, that's 15 minutes call time. Is around 90% probability that they will accept an offer. So to put that in, simply 15 and a half minutes is around 90% acceptance, which is, that was kind of eye-opening. When we did some of this modeling, it was, just for that one variable alone, it did have a reasonable good fit for just one variable. And if you compare it to our average, it's that 15 and a half minutes is about 2.5 times our current average call time. So we need to maybe focus on, keeping people on the phone longer. How do we go about doing this to drive up the percentage of acceptance and making these sales? Some other details that we also wanted to touch on. So marital status. The majority are married in the subset of single and divorced, but we're dealing with mostly married customers in our past data. And pretty much it's 50-50 down the middle for head of household having any type of insurance. It's nearly 50-50. And the age range. So we had a max, we had somebody who was 95 years old that was contacted all the way down to 18 years old, average being around 40. So keep these details in mind as we go forward. Some potential improvements that I think we could make just based on this EDA was down here in our past marketing campaign data. Feel the records are insufficient. They're only documented as failure and success. It doesn't really say what that actually means. And around 76% of that data was completely missing. So it actually got removed from any of our analysis. We need to improve how we record this. Let's get into the predictive model development for on-the-go credit predictions. We had a two-path approach. Path one was using a logistic regression model. We started with full, went to a backward stepwise, and manual variable selection. Path two was a K and N model, K nearest neighbor. with some manually selected variables. So we work our way down the workflow. Then we trained and tested this model, 80-20 train test, on that 4,000 customer data set. We established the model's accuracy. Then we use that model to predict the probability of accept and did not accept on the current data. And after that, we chose which model we were going to proceed with for our new customers that we don't know how they're going to respond. So after that occurred, we then joined the new 1,000 prospects data to the existing data set, and we ran that new data through our either Path 1 or Path 2 model to get predictions and give us the top 100 prospects that are most likely to accept on-the-go credit. So we're trying to find our top 100 most likely. So Path 1 model background, we use vtreat to clean up the categorical data. I'm not going to get into too many details on this, just for background. The variables were then selected using the full logistic regression model. So the first model was very big, 80 variables. We scaled that down by using backward stepwise to about 25. And then finally we cleared out 5 more to get all variables significant, which is around 20. We took it even a step further, cleaned out some stuff, that vtreat gave us that maybe isn't going to be very helpful. Some of that stuff just wasn't really impacting the model or couldn't be really documented well. Using manual selection from that 20 variable model, we got it down to 6. Number of contacts, days passed, previous attempts, insurance, car loan, and call time. And you can see here on the upper right with the 3 asterisks next to each coefficient that all of them are highly significant on whether the offer is accepted or not. Insurance and car loan were actually from the third-party credit data, so those made it into the model. Call time was a derivation between the call start and end data from our internal database. And then I also noted here that these 3 contacts, days passed, and previous attempts also show up in our prospects data. So we kind of have a very good mix of all the data sets and kind of covering all of our bases. And again, the goal is to predict whether or not they're going to accept. Path 2, we use those same 6 variables that we got from the logistic regression. We just made it straightforward. That's how we selected them for K and N. We had to set the tune length up to 20, which meant it had to really stretch out and reach far to get an accurate model. K ended up being about 37. Model selection, we selected Path 1, the logistic regression model. It's compact, easy to use. We use a 0.55 cutoff. And the KPIs, so the performance indicators, first one, simplest, would be what we call pseudo-R, of about 0.31. A good pseudo-R is around 0.4 to 0.5, so we thought this is right in the good range. The accuracy of the model on unseen test data was 76.5%, and I show the ROC curve here. The area under the curve was calculated at 0.76, which is right in the acceptable, good, moderate range. And as a note, Path 2 K&N model was very, very similar, just a tiny bit lower. And if we had a perfect model, this whole box would be filled in, where I show here where it says perfect. Our AUC was here in this triangular region, which is it's right where we would expect for this type of model with this many variables. So let's look at our top 100 new prospects for on-the-go credit. So using that Path 1 model, we joined that 1,000 new prospective customers data into our data set. We ran our model, and what is the probability of someone saying accept? And who are the unique prospective customers that we can target with the top 100 highest probabilities? As we look into this data, here's our top 100 prospects. This is just a snip starting, and it's ordered from highest probability down to lowest. But I broke it down even further to kind of put them in buckets. So if they were in 90% or above probability, they got put in there. So there were 6 in there, and same methodology. So in the 70 to 60% range, there was 48 folks. So we might have to use our best and our strongest banking teams to really go after these customers to get the acceptance rates up. But this is the list, our top 100 list. We could provide this to our banking teams, and they can go ahead and target each one of those unique IDs, whoever they're, like what phone numbers or emails they're connected to, reach out to them and start this process of getting on-the-go credit to each of these valuable customers. And the final end goal is to increase our offer acceptance and secure the new business. So thank you. Are there any questions or anything?